I saw you standing up for me one time.
Good afternoon. Go ahead and call this public forum to order, October 3rd, 2024. Please turn your cell phone to the vibrate, silence, or off setting. Gary Sansing Public Forum is intended for matters not on the agenda. For the upcoming BCC meeting, citizens wishing to address items on the agenda, please sign up to speak to such item at the regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. Speakers, please refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, or any other conduct which interferes with the orderly conduct of the Gary Sansing Public Forum. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairperson to allow sufficient time for all speakers. At the chairperson's discretion, the public forum may end 5 minutes prior to the start of the meeting to allow the meeting to commence on time. The first speaker is Keith Bowie.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you're all here and glad to see Commissioner Kohler getting around. I'm going to discuss budgets and infrastructure. This may or may not pertain to anything that's on the budget, or on the main topic tonight, but it's all under this category of budget and infrastructure. Electric buses and floodwaters don't mix because Biden is contributing, but because Biden is contributing to our federal tax dollars, our discussion has been short here at the podium while accepting all of the conversions for electric buses. I'd like to hear more about that. Saltwater flooding, poor roads, and the drainage will certainly make them unreliable, and it's definitely going to affect not only transportation but our budget. Olefate and mixing in heavy industry, depending on the 18-wheelers, makes the same distinction where a town center will mix with heavier local traffic on narrow roads that aren't built to that standard. We have better suited locations available for heavy trucks in major distribution centers. It's not a sacrifice if we can have both heavy and light industry in separate locations. Again, on the sportsplex, using the liberal changes allowed to a more broad use of the bed tax seems to be a self-fulfilling prophecy where we can possibly afford a $15 million bond, but a $60 million bond makes no sense. Let's remember just how fortunate we were with Hurricane Helene and how we got by. And we have major flooding still. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mark Price.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
My name is Mark Price, and I live at 545 Childers Street. Thank you to all the county commissioners for the sacrifice of your time and talents. We appreciate the work you do for the betterment of Escambia County. I'm here tonight representing Micah 6:8, a Christian men's group founded by Todd Leonard. We ask you to propose and pass a proclamation against Amendment 4 to the Florida Constitution, which will, in essence, allow for an abortion at any time prior to birth for essentially any reason, provided some undefined health care provider authorizes it. For the past 12 years, the men of Micah have met Friday mornings at the Drowsy Poet Coffee Shop. We are not a Bible study per se, but you will hear the truth of the Bible proclaimed. From the very conception of Micah 6:8, the issue of abortion has been at the forefront of our minds. I fear that this state, county, and city that I love are about to make a grievous mistake. Do not be deceived. Abortion will be the destruction of our city, state, and nation. God has been abundantly merciful to us in this city. But in Genesis 9, even Noah knew that judgment was going to come. The Apostle Paul in Romans 15:4 tells us that whatever things were written before were written for our learning. Do not scoff at what I'm about to say, but abortion is murder. It is the desecration of the Imago Dei, the very image of our Creator. It is high-handed sin against the God of the universe. God great in his mercy, yet sin requires a payment. I believe God's judgment will not be by water as in Noah's day, but by many various means. The greatest cause of our eventual collapse will be because we have marred and destroyed his image. The men of Micah 6:8, come here today to passionately and ardently ask you for do your part passing this proposal. Join us in supporting this resolution to denounce this amendment for the good of our city, our people, and the unborn babies in the room. I must ask you, does this amendment not create any trepidation in you? Do you not realize the hidden ramifications this amendment poses to not only Florida and Escambia and Pensacola? I have seen this fight many years. I was 19 when Roe versus Wade was passed. I have seen the arguments and protests in the name of personal liberty. What I have for the last 51 years of fighting given the American people. What has the last 51 years of fighting given the American people? Nothing but a broken heart, wounds, and families. I just ask you, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired of the millions of babies being slaughtered in the name of independence and self-satisfaction?
Mark, excuse me, Mark, that's your time.
Sir?
That's your time.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next speaker is Kevin Kirkpatrick.
My name is Kevin Kirkpatrick, and I too am from Micah 6:8, and I'm Mark's business partner. I'm going to speak to Amendment 4 as well. Slightly different tone. Had a speech, threw it away, so bear with me. This is Amendment 4. It's a speed limit sign with no speed limit. For a law to be effective, it has to be objective. We have to know what we are forbidden or permitted to do. You pass zoning ordinances and regulations. If I don't know what I can do on my property, how can I know how to obey the law? This is what that law is. It is not objective, it is subjective. We have an undefined viability. We have undefined reasons. We don't know who a health care provider is. I want to paint for you a very chilling scenario. Many years ago, I worked for Congressman Richard Ray, the 3rd District out of Georgia, was honored to do so. I was a legislative assistant. After that, I worked for Senator Sam Nunn as an administrative aide. And those two taught me that a law has to be objective so people know what it does. This is a chilling scenario for the way that this law is written. We have a young housewife and a young husband. They're doing well. They finally decide to have a child. They're pregnant with twins. They look at their finances. They realize that in their mind they cannot afford 2 children. And this is absolute truth under this law. Alan can be born. Alan can be born on the table, squalling, screaming, cord is cut. They can decide at that moment, while Brad is still in the womb, to take that child's life. That is a legitimate scenario that I just gave you with a straight face from somebody who's been trained in the law. Do we want to become a destination city for abortion? Do we want to become a city that has our tax dollars involved in defending these kind of lawsuits, prosecuting these kind of lawsuits, and actually paying for abortions? I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you very much in the work that you do. I know it is difficult. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is John Stringfield.
Good evening. I'm here to address an elephant in the room that rarely receives a complete vetting with regard to the pro-abundant life discussion. There is a significant number of professing Christians and non-Christians who are ardently pro-abundant life, but for the exceptions of rape and incest. The fact is, these exceptions represent approximately 1.5% of the total number of women seeking an abortion under these circumstances. That equates to 15 out of 1,000 preborn lives that are killed under these circumstances. Nevertheless, a sizable number that are killed under these, nevertheless, a sizable number of the voters will likely vote yes on Amendment 4, regardless of the fact that they are 98.5% against it. The reason? Justifiable sympathy for the aggrieved mother. The problem with this kind of logic is multifaceted, but I'm here to address only one. This group of pro-4 voters have likely not fully considered a most important aspect of the equation. An innocent baby has been conceived. Is his or her life less valuable or less human than the one that has been conceived in a more traditional manner? That they have more inherent value as a human being? Right now, at this very moment, you're looking at a child whose mother was a rape victim 73 years ago. Can anyone here look me in the eye and honestly claim that my life is less valuable or human than yours? What about my daughter, my 2 grandsons, my 2 great-grandsons, with a third on the way? In conclusion, I humbly ask for your righteous boldness to issue a resolution similar to the one our courageous Governor DeSantis made against Amendment 4, to just do the next right thing. It's not about how we are conceived, but in whose image we are made. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is James Johnson.
Members of the Escambia County Board of Commissioners, allow me to rush to deference and explain that I count it a privilege to address you. It is a privilege that our constitutional republic affords me, for which I am deeply grateful. I appreciate many of the ways that you as a board and you as individuals serve our community. Allow me to briefly introduce myself. I am James Johnson, and like you, I serve many Escambia County residents. I am the pastor of Northstone Baptist Church here in Pensacola. If you're not familiar, Northstone is a thriving church that has tripled in attendance over the last 3 years. It's wonderful what God is doing through our church, and it's my privilege to address you on their behalf. Additionally, I host Strength for Life, which is a weekly television broadcast on WEAR. It's also heard daily on Pensacola's News Radio, as well as 7 other radio stations here in Pensacola and 77 stations across the country. If you watch WEAR or you listen to News Radio, you may have seen or heard our program, and hopefully you've been strengthened by the ways we try to serve Escambia County through those media venues. I address you today with the specific purpose of asking you to consider issuing a resolution against Amendment 4. I am holding a copy of Amendment 4 in my hand right now. As you may know, Florida Amendment 4 is a right to abortion initiative. Also, as you may know, the ambiguity of Amendment 4 is both dangerous and irresponsible. Terms like viability, or the term a patient's health, or the term healthcare provider, these terms are not defined, and as a result, this amendment opens the door to unrestricted, unregulated, full-term abortion. Again, I say the ambiguity of Florida Amendment 4 is both dangerous and irresponsible. Therefore, I respectfully appeal to you today to follow the examples of Sarasota County, Lee County, and Collier County and issue a resolution against Amendment 4. I understand that you as a board answer to your constituency, but I also understand that we all answer to God. Like all the counties across the United States, Escambia County is filled with both Republicans and Democrats. However, the issue of abortion should not be a politically partisan issue. It's not right versus left, but it is right versus wrong. And Amendment 4 is wrong for Florida, and it's wrong for Escambia County. If you issue a resolution against Amendment 4, I assure you that the members of our church and the members of the Strength for Life constituency and the Micah 6-8 men and thousands of Bible-believing Christians throughout Escambia County, they will all stand with you in opposing Amendment 4. Yet more significantly, if you issue a resolution against Amendment 4, God will stand with you. And I speak that on the authority of Genesis 1:27 and Exodus 20:13 and Psalm 139,
James.
Jeremiah 1:5,
James.
and Luke 1:41.
That's your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Larry Downs Jr.
Freedom, Larry, freedom. For women.
I got my time here, so don't interrupt me, Barry, even if there's a split second left. I can cut myself off. Larry Downs Jr. Plumbing LLC, because fecal matters. All right, real quick, I'm gonna give y'all a quick little poem. Once upon a time, there were 3 county commissioners, appeared to be connected at the hip. Then the voters came along and broke their little clique. That's a fun little poem. I just actually is right out there. So anyways, hopefully we'll see. It's funny. I got it. I was hoping I'd get a laugh out of that because it's kind of comical. Anyways, hey, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. I went to the Contractor Competency Board meeting to get my 2 sons approved to take their master plumbing exam yesterday. And I happened to notice 2 board members, and right off the rip, one of them recused themselves, for that problem. So anyways, I wanted to point it out. It reminded me, there's 2 different statutes. One is 112.3143, voting conflicts, conflict of interest. Then they have the other one, and you say it every time, Barry. It's 286.012, appearance of a conflict of interest. Now, y'all removed me from that Contractor Competency Board. Now, every time that somebody Googles my name, that comes up, that I was thrown off. It's wrong. It was disingenuous. I had a legitimate, the 2 county attorneys told me that I had a legitimate reason to recuse myself. Y'all have done it hundreds of times up here, if not more. And for less. I've looked them up for less. Now, I had communications with him before he ever got to the board because he's my friend. I'm trying to help him like I try to help everybody get out of a bind. No. For the reasons you stated that you didn't remove me from the board is the reason why y'all did. That's the way it works. It's not for that. It's kind of like these gentlemen up here talking about the abortion bill, which is really the reproductive rights bill, right? I mean, come on, that's disingenuous. It's a baby killing bill. I mean, we know what it is. I mean, wouldn't it be so much better if we just said those things just outright? Let's just be honest about it. By the way, our reproductive rates in the United States is 1.6. It takes 2.5 to maintain a society. Is that why the border's open? I mean, let's just get to the real stuff. How many new young people can't get they cannot get pregnant now, or they need IVF because of these COVID shots? When are y'all going to talk about adverse reactions? When are you going to let the people know to ignore those commercials that are coming down the pike right now to get those COVID shots? Tell them no. Be honest with them for once. Come on, let's do it. Thank you. Holy shit.
Next speaker is Kathy Rushing.
Good evening, gentlemen, and I'm
Good evening.
still enjoying the repair to Winthrop. But this is now about District 1. I grew up on Perdido Bay. The address is 233 Meadson Way. We have a new neighbor down there. He's built a nice, fine house. But the new neighbor built it with all the gutters draining into our yard. He's got a pipe this big around that when high tide comes in, it runs on the side of the house, and he's got this, and it comes like this out to the property line, and it's flooding over here. So he got upset because we haven't mowed, but we can't mow because he keeps the yard wet. I was out there a week ago, Wednesday, with a hand pump, battery operated, and I pumped out 25 gallons out of the driveway for where it masked. So I want you to understand that when code comes out, they're fair. The lady looked at it. She said, you can't mow because it's wet. I says, yeah, I know. But this guy is going to have to be put on notice that he doesn't have the right to send his water to our yard. Just because he's high class, and he hasn't owned the property very long, but he took down the house that was on that property, and he used it to build up, because in our property, he buried, it was uncovered, big rock that's got rock in it. We have 1-inch tile that's on a back wall, either the bathroom or the kitchen. So he's dug that. We didn't have nothing like that until this man came down. So what I call my neighbor, it's high-class trash. Because when you put your stuff on somebody else's property and cause them harm, that is wrong. And I'm down here to tell you why code was out. But I have no problem with code. Code is fair. Code will look at things honestly and do things rightly. And I want to make sure that that code officer gets no feedback because she didn't give me a ticket, because she said you could not mow. Now, I did mow Monday because it was dry enough, and the kid couldn't, he wanted to do it Monday because he's playing on the weekend, teenager. My guy who did take care of my car, my yard, died of cancer, brain cancer, a month ago. So thank you, gentlemen, and I just want you to know it's not deliberately being ignored.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Next speaker is Teresa Blackwell.
Good evening. Teresa Blackwell. I live in Beulah. And I didn't intend to talk on this, but the last time I checked, we don't live in a theocracy. You know, nothing warms my heart more than a group of men coming up here talking about what women should do with their bodies and how they should be regulated. It is beyond, you know, I lived in the time when abortions were illegal, when they did backstreet abortions. I don't want that kind of thing going on. I don't want women dying, going to another state to get an abortion. So you can hear my voice going up. You know, give women the health care they need when they need it here, not in some state 4 states away. Half your voters are women. I don't want to see any resolution on this. You represent all of us, not a theocracy, not the churches. I'm in a church, but this is just not right. Don't do this. Okay, here's what I want to talk about. The Beulah Master Plan. Where the heck is it? It has been 7 months. We're not hearing a peep from those people. They have been slow every step of the way. We could have had DPZ for this. They were fabulous. They communicated with us. We hear nothing from these people, nothing whatsoever. We got a great deal of communication from DPZ. They were all over the place. These master planners, they disappear into the darkness. 7 months, we've heard nothing. I just heard there's some problems. I don't know what those are. And so I want to talk about master plans. So what they're doing is a master plan. And I think there's a misconception about master plans. Master plans don't tell you what your vision is for a place. They tell you how the land can be used as far as the buildings, where the roads will be, the width of the streets, the width of the, you know, will you have sidewalks? Will you have street trees? Will you have street lights? That's what we have for OLF 8. It's all those kinds of things. It's a building code. It is not a vision. We need a vision for OLF 8. Mine for OLF 8 would be what will give it its identity. For me, it would be a place related to health. You can go there and have an outdoor experience, healthy food. You can hike those trails. You have recreation that doesn't require a park. We already have a park there. So you give yourself that identity. And then when these offers come in, you can say, does that fit with my vision? You should have been having these workshops and deciding what your vision is. If you had that, then you could say, no, Amazon is not part of our vision. No, that does not fit. So, you know, you really need to get that vision together. The DPZ master plan is not a vision. You know, you look at Seaside, their vision is basically, we're a great seaside little recreation town. You can come over here. We got some food trucks. We got I'll finish my sentence. You've got a pavilion where you can have music and have a good time. You know what to expect. That's what they're known for.
Thank you.
So give OLF 8 something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Sonia Reese.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to express my thanks to everyone who was involved in the completion of a small ditch project to prevent the flooding of my home. And that would be the commissioners, Joy Blackman, James Duncan, Jared Simmons, Dimitri Troikin, the contracting company, and the tax-paying citizens, and anyone else involved. And I appreciate that I have been heard, that I have been seen, and that flooding issues are being addressed. I appreciate that more than you can imagine. I'm proud to be a citizen of Florida. I'm grateful for the ability to come before this board to speak. And I just want to say that today I feel very small. I am one small voice among tens of thousands of American citizens crying out for our government to do what they have been elected and appointed to do, to hear, to see, and to care about the people they represent, and to be more responsible with our tax dollars. I have to wonder if any of you feel the same. I mean, who advocates for you, and who represents you, and who is your voice? And can you trust them to do the right thing? I want to emphasize the need to better address our infrastructure and financial issues so that we can respond to flooding in ways that are more proactive rather than reactive. And maybe if we all put our heads together and fought for what is right rather than what is routine, then we can fare better when it really matters. Thank you.
Thank you. If you had put flooding problem fixed as your item, I would have called on you first. So,
Oh, it's fine. I'm
Thank you.
here. It's all good.
teasing. Chris Kerr.
Ditto. Chris Kerr with Flood Defenders. Been pretty busy lately. People get excited when there's a major hurricane, historical hurricane, flooding people's houses and taking sounds out. And I get real busy when that happens, even though it didn't hit us here. It's not if, it's when. We're going to get the same thing here. Commissioner Berry, I'd like to thank you and Josh Robertson and Dr. Michael Jones for the debate that was held in the Beach Haven community the other night. I sent in questions, but they didn't ask them all. And I sent you an email. I'd appreciate your response on that. I really didn't prepare too much for this tonight, but you're going to have Gwen Brooks and her sister on Old South Highway 29. That's in your district. There's a drainage issue there. It's about a filling bill. That's something that our code and most of our municipalities is not being addressed. I'm not even sure the best way to address it. There's also an issue on DeSoto and Peace Street where the county resurfaced the road in your district, Commissioner May. Those folks are not up here today, but I got a phone message today that they will be coming up here. Reach out to me and I'll tell you what I think you can do about it. Kathy Russian at 233 Meetson Way. She's also talking about a fill-in bill. And this is a problem that we need to get all the stakeholders together, the builders, the developers, and figure out a way to come up with some kind of code to address this problem, because it's happening everywhere. I think Escambia County could do that. That $25 million in LOST reserves, I would like for y'all to put that toward drainage projects to be proactive instead of reactive. In your engineering department, the budgets need to be increased, as well as your public works department. That's what budget amendments are good for. I won't speak on anything else. I'll let other people speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Michael Bearden.
I'm Michael Bearden, 11276 Chanticleer Court out in Perdido area. Mr. Bergosh, how you doing? Good. One of the reasons I'm here tonight is I know that you're going to be replaced down the road, and I wanted to thank you for all you've done here. And we're obviously going to miss you. I would say something to Mr. May, but as usual, he doesn't give a damn about anybody out here talking on this side of the thing.
Please don't curse, Mr. Bearden.
One of the reasons I quit coming here was too many of the commissioners would start carrying on conversations with each other while we come up here to give you our opinion or our request or our issues about things. And I don't think I've seen more than once or twice, and all the times I used to come up here every time, that he paid attention to anybody. He's left, he came in late and he's already left 3 times during this. We've turned off our phones so that we won't disturb anybody. He should turn his phone off. You're here to listen to us, to hear what we have to say about what we want you to do or what we think you're doing or what we would like to see done, fears we have, concerns we have, loves we have. But it doesn't do a bit of good if it's on deaf ears, and it's definitely on one deaf ear. And I've seen that over and over again, and I probably won't be back much anymore. I'm old, I'm close to dying, but I've got everything in the world I need and nobody can touch it because I'm a careful man. So what I see you guys do up here, Mike, it's good to see you working hard too. And Barry, I've always liked you. Really.
I appreciate that.
And I have fun coming here. Part of the reason I have fun is I spent 20 years of my life, a lot of my blood, and damn near my life, several times, defending this country. And one of the reasons I did it is this right here. This is where we can get things done in this whole damn nation. We can come here and we can get it done, and we talk directly to the people that represent us, that we voted to represent us. And when those people show they don't care, it hurts. And it makes us pretty angry and swear. And I apologize for that.
That's all right.
I'm a 20-year sailor, what can I say? But I don't know how much time I got left. I just want to tell you, thank you for what you do. And somebody talk to him. Tell him to pretend like he cares about what we're saying on this side. Because that would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Please don't clap. Next speaker is Gwen Brooks.
Good evening to the commissioners.
Evening.
This is my sister Manita. We both live together.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Barry, you are the District 5
Yes,
in
ma'am.
the area that I live in. And I had been asking and praying for help right there off of Highway 29. My address is 3033 Highway 29 Service Road. So the Service Road and the main highway, I'm in between there. And you got water off the Highway 29 because when you running down the streets in the cars, you hitting puddles of water, so there's no drainage there.
Okay,
Everybody?
And you can stop our time for a second. I looked in emails. I don't recognize your name, Gwen. So which part of Highway 29 are you? The service road? Is it the service road where Surf Welding is on that
Yes.
side? Is that where
Yes,
you?
that's
okay.
how I come into my
Okay,
driveway.
okay. So your address is on the west side of the house. It's not on the Highway 29 side. Your address is on the service road behind it?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
In
I'm
order to
sorry.
get to the house.
Okay, you can start us.
So
off.
we
Okay.
have flood comes off of Highway 29. We have it coming off the service road. You got the railroad tracks back there. You got a
Yes, ma'am.
subdivision back there. I'm right next door to Dollar General.
Yes, ma'am.
They built their property up high, so this water is running down in my yard. I have pictures of the flood, and but my phone died, and my sister also has pictures, and Mr. Chris has pictures also, but it's like I have to find a way to get into my house. It's like water gets into my garage and stuff, and I just need something done. They keep building on 29, going north. You can't
Yes,
go
ma'am.
south no more, but you're building and building, and there's nothing done about the drainage.
Yes, ma'am. The Dollar General is relatively new, and it is higher than your house. Audrey,
Plus, excuse me,
Audrey, do you mind taking her number after she speaks? And Gwen, if you don't mind giving her number, I'll get it from her, and I'm happy to talk to you. I drive in front of your house a half dozen times a day, so I do know where you live. I'll be happy
Okay,
to look
plus
into
my
it.
sister would like to add to
Sure,
that.
yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask, my grandfather, he owned that land where Dollar General was at.
Okay.
And he sold a ditch behind his house where the water can run off 29. And that ditch is full of weeds and trees and stuff, and it
Okay.
need cleaning out. And it's just one hole where that water is going out. And if that hole gets stopped up, then the water don't have nowhere to go. So that's what we was talking about. It's just like when it floods, that train track behind us.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
only time we see somebody is when those cross ties are pushed away from up under those train tracks because the train can't come along there. Then you see people out working. But that's all we wanted to talk about was about the flood and how we have to move our cars and stuff out the yard when it started raining real hard.
Okay.
Plus, also that drainage, I'm gonna say, what is that? The holding pond for Dollar General is nothing but weeds. They don't, and when they cut, I have to call the county out there, the road thing, the prisoners and the county to cut their back street back there. I asked them to cut both sides of the street. What do? Cut one side of the street. They might send the prisoners after I ask, and I have to call 5 and 6 times to cut those weeds out, because the water can't go nowhere. The weeds are stopping it.
All right, we can certainly get out and help with the ditch area, and Dollar General, we do have, historically, we do have problems where the maintenance of the ponds is an issue at multiple locations in Escambia County. We have to call code enforcement to kind of incentivize them to come out and maintain their ponds. So, but if you don't mind giving your phone number to Audrey over there, I'm happy to talk to you and see what I can do. I'm very familiar with where you live.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Next speaker is Jonathan Green.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jonathan Green. Tonight, I want to challenge you, and challenge you in a way of asking yourself while I speak, what legacy you want to leave Escambia County and the people you represent. I want you to consider being transparent and giving education and awareness to your residents in a regard of a half-cent sales tax for Escambia County Public Schools. And I want you to consider this because the funds that have been allocated over the last decades from that half-cent sales tax have been disproportionately funding areas in a just flat-out discriminatory way, in my opinion, where there's not been a new school built in a District 3 area, where many of those dollars go to the advancement of and building of other schools which are needed. However, consider, many people are familiar with Brown versus Board of Education, you know, separate but equal is unconstitutional, outlawing Plessy v. Ferguson. Many people, that happened in 1954. Many people are not familiar with 1955 Brown versus Board of Education, the second case, to desegregate at all deliberate speed. That is not a timeline. The Supreme Court said that essentially, because racial tensions are not something you get over overnight, deliberate speed, being deliberate and intentional, but many of our students, we bus to warehouse schools. We don't have community schools in these areas anymore. There's an article in Weekly written by Rick Outson that came out just 8 hours ago that says school sales tax renewal may have trouble. And this is on the ballot this November, yet there has seemed to have been a lack of transparency. And the article goes on to say, few people realize that Escambia County Public Schools have a half-cent sales tax that the district wants voters to renew for another 10 years. A few pro-tax signs have popped up around town, but not much else has been said. However, there is growing pressure.
Jonathan, that is your time. Please
Thank
wrap
you.
it up. Thank you.
So I implore you to conclude, consider your legacy, and be transparent to the people.
All right, thank you.
And
Next-
Jonathan, excuse me, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
go ahead.
And Jonathan, I appreciate you and your group today. Obviously, that's a school board tax, but I share your group's concern about the lack of a middle school in District 3 and the closure of many of our elementary schools in District 3 and the lack of the conditions at the only high school in District 3, PHS. So I do share your concerns. It went on deaf ears, but as I said to your group today, it's a school board issue, but I certainly have those concerns.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next speaker is Jean Brown.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and everyone.
Afternoon.
I oppose high-density, high-intensity development on Finley Drive that is incompatible with our existing neighborhood of 1/2 acre to 6 acre lots. Such incompatible development would destroy the character and quality of our neighborhood. I call your attention to our Escambia County Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 1, Legal, Section 1.03, Intent. I quote, "It is the intent of this plan to provide orderly growth management." And then, implementation of this ordinance is designed to maintain and improve the quality of life for all citizens of the county. I am a citizen of the county. My neighborhood is not the only one whose neighborhood is being threatened by incompatible high density and development. Almost every week, there are citizens who stand before the county commissioners, planning board, rezoning, board of adjustment, and other boards, crying from their hearts that their neighborhoods not be destroyed. Would you want to have incompatible development next door to you in your neighborhood? Neither do we. Please listen to the intent of the comprehensive plan. Remember Finley JoJo. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And as you make your way back, congratulations. Nice to see you last week. Congratulations on being the board. As you may not have imagined it as I did, Jean and her husband, Bill Brown, were the Farm Family of the Year this year for the Farm Bureau last week, and received a very nice proclamation from Escambia County Farm Bureau, and highlighted they have a tree operation in the north end of the county that's very high technology, science-based. I didn't understand a lot of what they talked about related to the trees themselves, but it was pretty neat. Last speaker in public forum is Larry Williams. Larry Williams. Nice to see you.
Hey.
Not busy with other business this evening?
Not
Other elected official
so
business?
busy
Okay.
this evening, but I must stop, set this aside, and come to talk to you all today. Larry Williams, 6410 Dunbar Road. I want to go back in time, first off, and offer my condolences to the individuals that suffered tragedy on July the 28th of this year at the Wedgwood Community Center. I want to also make sure that it's clear that everyone understands that that was not the residents of Wedgwood, but some rogues who came out there with the intent to do harm, and that's what happened. Since then, as you know, you've taken control of the community center as you had previously with the park. Fine. We, as residents, just do what we normally do, pick up the pieces and move forward. However, I'm not sure the residents know, because I get the questions fielded to me quite often, and I don't know, what is the status on the Wedgwood Community Center? When will it be open? What will be the availability for it? And I would hope you would offer us a timeline to know what's going on, when we'll be able to use it, if at all, and give us some definites for over the course of the next 5 months. A lot of good events happen out there at that community center during the holidays, not to mention special events, and early in the new year. Thank you. Looking forward to a response.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Please.
And Larry, I didn't get back with you. It's been a busy week, as you know. It's Soul Bowl week, so for clarification, so you'll know, and I'll call you tomorrow. First of all, the 2 men who were killed both played ball for me. Dwayne Pizan, who is paralyzed, played for me. His daddy played for me, and his son now plays for me. And so it's very sensitive to me that what happened, and you're absolutely right. Those participants who caused that havoc in Wedgwood are not from Wedgwood, which is systemically been the problem of people who have utilized the facility to cause havoc and cause disruption in our neighborhoods. I would assure you that we never close the senior program down. Leroy Williams is out there every day. It's open. It's open for rentals as we speak. It's open for the senior program. It's open for the feeding program, which was never closed. And we are doing, Leroy Williams, who you know very well, is putting the programmatic part there. And we're going to make sure that it's a safe place. We're working with the sheriff to get cameras out there. I said there's no after-school programs that work well if we don't have children's safety. But Leroy Williams is working diligently, and it's open. And so I think that I've talked to many of my family and friends who have holiday parties planned, and we're going to do that, and we're going to be a part of that. So, and we're working on an after-school program. Matter of fact, our Human Services is working with Dr. Calvin Avant on a huge grant that's going to bring some more resources there. So I appreciate you reaching out, and I certainly will be in communication with you in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, in addition to, I sat on a few boards. This is just additional comments now that we're having a dialogue. I sat on several boards before, a board in Green Coast Springs, the Augusta Savage Community Center. And one of the things that they did as they prepared the facilities, they also train the board members on how to run a board effectively. They brought in a university, trained them on the different aspects of running a program, and making sure that they had people who had those different skill sets involved in the process when they gave it over to the residents. So the residents were prepared, and the facility was prepared for that transition. And so if in the future, if the citizens of the community or surrounding communities are involved, there's a need for, in addition to security, surveillance, and lights, there's a need for the residents of those communities to be trained for the tasks that you're asking them to commit to. Thank you.
No, thanks, Larry, and I look forward to working with you. I mean, unfortunately, in Bell's Head last night, a young man that played for me, Stanker, was killed last night. And there's senseless acts of gun violence, whether it's Wedgwood, whether it's Bellheads, and that's one of the initiatives I sit on the Children's Trust that we're going to be bringing forward. It's senseless. The number one thing, we got to work with the community, as you said, when training. Safety is the key. If a kid doesn't feel safe, they're never going to enjoy any after-school programs until we can make these neighborhoods safe. So thank you for your effort, and we're going to get with you on some sewer in Wedgwood, too, so I appreciate it.
All right, Board, that's all the speakers' public forum. We'll begin the board meeting right on time, 5:30.